Hello, welcome to Math for All, where we try to make math creative, curious, and inclusive for everyone. I'm Molly Vokey.
And I'm Heidi Subnani. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are really excited to be speaking with our friend Deborah Peart Crayton, and you will learn some amazing things. We're really excited about it. You can also follow along on Blue Sky or YouTube or Facebook page or on our website. Any of those places you can find more about us and the work that we're doing.
Yes. And if you are interested in activators to get your students thinking about the tough subjects of fractions, decimals, and integers, you can go to Didex for our book. And she's doing this in the background. I just love her. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, let's get right to it. Deborah is going to talk to us about how we can leverage what we know about teaching reading and teaching reading to bring more joy to math class, which I feel like over the years we've talked around this. So, so we are let me introduce Deborah. Deborah Peart Crayton is the founder and CEO of My Mathematical Mind and author of Readers Read, Readers Read, Writers Write, and Mathers Math. Want to get right to the math part, obviously. With over 30 years in the field of education, Deborah speaks on a variety of topics related to math identity, elementary math content and instruction, and literacy connections to mathematics at regional and national conferences. Deborah has dedicated her career in doctoral studies to supporting educators with innovative teaching strategies that allow students to see themselves as assets to the learning community and confident problem solvers. Deborah believes that all children deserve high-quality instruction and the opportunity to become competent readers, writers, and mathers. So, she's already dancing. Love this woman.
I can't help it.
We are so excited to have you here.
Yes.
We know Deborah in real life, which is not always the case. So it's always really exciting to have someone that we know in real life. And she is a repeat guest. As we've talked about before, this season is dedicated to women and non-binary folks. This is season 5, but you can also catch her on season 3. But when we were thinking about who we wanted to reinvite this year, Deborah was one of those people. And so we're really excited for everyone to hear more from her. And so we're going to start where we always do with, what is your math story?
Well, first I want to say thanks for having me back. It feels like an honor and privilege to be a repeat guest on Math for All. It's so special. So I think that quite a few people know a bit about my math story as far as me being someone who wasn't really bad at math. And then I wanted to make it better for students. I was actually really good at math, but didn't love it. So I had to make A's. It was not optional in my Caribbean household. There was no such thing as anything less than 100%. So I was a solid math student, but I knew at a very young age that there had to be more to it, or I didn't want any parts of it. So I got in trouble for things like asking too many questions, talking to classmates, trying to understand why things work. So if you shut me down over and over again as a young child, then obviously I'm thinking I don't belong here. So for a very different reason than many others, I felt that I didn't belong in math class. And I just did math. I just did the work to make the grade. But reading and writing, I loved. I thought about it all the time. It just spilled out, the joy and excitement and enthusiasm about books and words and reading just spilled out of me. And it wasn't until I was teaching and I realized that I was teaching from that place. So when I was teaching reading and writing, it was beautiful and wonderful and amazing. And there were voices and everything about it was lovely. And when I was teaching math, I just taught it from the text and delivered the information. And when I was actually in my master's program, having a master's in educational studies with a concentration in literacy, because again, love all things literacy. And my math methods course that I took as an elective was the first time that someone answered all those questions that were unanswered for me as a child. And I actually got a little mad because I thought, why didn't they just tell us? And why aren't we telling the children the why before the how and the deep understanding? And I realized as an adult, my teachers probably didn't know the answers to my questions. And that's why they called me rude and disrespectful. So
well, that is rude to ask questions that have no answers.
Right. So my story, I basically sum it up these days as my math story is one of falling out of love with mathematics because I think we're all born mathers. I was curious. I loved it. I looked for patterns, and it was actually kind of pushed out of me. I was convinced I didn't belong, and I fell out of love with it. But then I returned and fell back in love with it. And then it became my mission to make sure that children had a different experience and could fall in love with math the way I helped so many fall in love with reading. And now that is like my heart work, is that I want you to fall in love with math, or at least feel comfortable in math spaces, not hate it, not be afraid of it. So my math story, like I said, I've shared details along the way over the years, but today I just recently had a birthday. So, you do a lot of reflection, and I think that's really where my story is right now. And that's actually how it came out in the book is, I thought about what a wonderful, amazing teacher I was. And I was just known for helping kids learn how to read and become great readers and fall in love with reading. But no one was celebrating how awesome I was at teaching math until I made a decision that I wanted the same level of joy and enthusiasm to ooze out of me. And for that, it required me to, you guessed it, go back to school right after I finished.
Obviously.
We unfortunately also know how that goes.
Obviously. So, I wanted to get a second master's, but at the time there was not a program that offered a master's in elementary mathematics.
Yeah.
So I kind of cobbled together my own little program and did a graduate level endorsement in early elementary mathematics and teacher development, just so I could keep taking the courses. And I fell in love with cognitively guided instruction, which is my favorite because it brings together my words and my numbers and the concepts and teaches math through context and stories, which is also critically important for conceptual understanding. So best of both worlds.
Yeah. And I think when we silo things so much, and I know that like in secondary, we do that right off the bat, right? Like, okay, like each class has its own bell to bell.
It's built into the program, right? Yeah.
Like it's designed in that way. And I once taught like one of my colleagues, I taught a world class and they taught a humanities class, but we tried to bring in like all the other things, right? Like, but you would get pushback.
Yes.
No, that doesn't belong in this class. That belongs on the science wing, or that belongs in the math, So like that idea of thinking about like how to integrate and think about that. And so I think sometimes think, oh, that would be easier in an elementary setting because there's one teacher who teaches all the subjects. And
it's not easier.
It's not easier. It's not.
Because they teach all the subjects.
And also, like, here's your program for this. So you teach it from that program. And then here's your program for this. There's no meshing. Like, I remember when I first started teaching, like, cooperative learning was huge, and doing like kind of trying to get some project-based stuff in was really big because of cooperative learning. you could mix things in together like that. It was a little bit more free. I don't know. It's just not now. It's just not.
Well, and we, like, in thinking about, because I just came out of a couple days in elementary schools, and the number of teachers that if they had to choose one or the other.
I wonder what that actual stat is.
What did they choose?
Yeah. In my situation, like, so with the school that I was, the school I was in was on Wednesday, I would say maybe 3 would choose math.
Oh,
and I feel like that's high, actually. This is a smaller school. There's like 20 staff. 3, I think, would pick math over literacy. Like, if I was going to make them choose, and like one of those, like if I opened it up a little more to like science, would choose science. Like, it's that kind of,
oh, wow,
like spread in that. And the one I was in today, 2 out of like 60.
Wow. It's not getting better in larger settings. It's even worse. Got it.
Right. So like if we were making people choose, like, it's
right.
That,
oh no, I get what you're saying, is that if you're given the choice, let's do this thing you love or this other thing you just have to do, and you're probably not
you don't necessarily know how to do,
and you don't love it.
Yeah.
Which one would you choose?
Let's pick.
And there's so many reasons why they wouldn't choose math. When we look at, preparation programs, teacher prep programs, there is more of an emphasis on literacy than mathematics. And, I did some research on that, and looking at the National Teacher Quality stats in their most recent report, it is outrageous. The difference between the number of courses that colleges and universities that are highly esteemed require for literacy versus mathematics. And in many of them, it was 6-1, 5-1. And you can like, I went back to school because I had made it all the way through my master's program. And I hadn't taken any elementary math courses that were specifically about how to teach math or how to understand the mathematics. It was lumped in with other things. There was literacy across the content areas, multicultural literature, literacy for exceptional students, literacy. I had so many. And then there was all the other things, social studies, science, mathematics, like everything lumped together. In my undergrad. And then in my master's program, because my concentration was literacy, I didn't have to take any math courses, but I took that one elective, and I wish it had been required.
Right.
Because we had the manipulatives out. We were doing the math. We were understanding it. Many of us for the very first time ever. And I'm talking, that was in my 30s. So I was like,
no,
what? That's why.
Yes. Yes. I was a math major in college, and I graduated and started teaching middle school, and I didn't know all the answers to the questions. So walk right down the hall to a very experienced teacher who knew a lot more than me and was like, why does this work? Somebody asked me why today and I didn't know. So explain, please. And that was the beginning of a journey for me. I did take a couple math methods classes, but not compared to everything else. And then I never used any of those reading classes ever. Not a one.
Well, see, there's also this combined. So math classes are usually like the biggest mix-up, mashup. We're going to throw in pedagogy, instruction, concepts, everything, just classroom management, just all of it. And there's some math in there. Or the other option is we're going to have you do the math that you don't remember from high school and college.
Yes.
And but that's going to count as your math course requirement,
which is super helpful when you're teaching elementary. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not helpful at all. Yeah,
no.
Exactly that.
No. Well, I mean, let's talk about this, right? Because this is your love, and this is where your story has ended, so to speak. Not that your story, not that your story is ended, but you're still going. You're still going. But that's where you just ended your story. Let's just say it that way. Okay. I mean, how can we leverage what we know and love about teaching reading? I mean, this is like the whole crux of your story is this. So let us know. How do we do that?
Okay. Just like that.
Just real like quick. That. If you could just do it real quick. Yeah.
So, and I do talk a lot more about it in the book and kind of, break it down. But for me, what it took was for me to ask myself the very important question, what keeps me from teaching mathematics with the same level of joy and enthusiasm that I do all things literacy? And the honest answer between me, myself, and I was my level of comfort with the mathematics. So if a student is trying out a strategy, just an inventive strategy that they've come up with, and it keeps working over and over again, and they say, look what I did. And I look at it and it's not what's in the teacher's guide. I shut that thing down because it doesn't make sense to me. It makes me uncomfortable. My insecurities are showing up and I don't want you to explain it. I want you to never do it again. Just stop. So we're disrupting sense making based on our own insecurities or what we don't understand, or because it is scary to let kids just go for it. Just try, because even if I practice in advance, they're going to come up with something that I don't know. So my framework that I introduce in the book and my dissertation, which, just throwing it out there, is with my committee right now, just saying, is comfort before confidence. And there are 5 C's: comfort, competence, confidence, collaboration, and community. And to me, that's how this journey begins, is first and foremost building our comfort with the math concepts that we teach, building our comfort with engaging in math tasks as a learner, as an adult learner, not let's pretend to be third graders. How would you approach this problem? No, let's be you, your adult self. How would you approach this problem? And engaging in some of the warm-up routines, engaging in some of the new ways that children are learning mathematics, because the math is not different. The math is not new, but the approaches had to change. And they are still changing, and we're getting resistance and pushback because resistance is often rooted in fear, fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of judgment, and even fear that you can't measure up. So building our comfort is really important. And to do that, we need to dig into the math. We need to have coaches and mentors. You said you walk down the hall, hey, I don't understand this. Not that easy as an elementary educator, where you already have some insecurities. So, you don't want someone saying, aren't you smarter than a 5th grader? But I can't tell you how many folks I've met who teach 4th and 5th grade and middle school, just saying, who don't understand anything about fractions. Like, really don't understand the conceptual side of fractions at all. They're just mystery things that suddenly show up on a number line one day. And if I've always known fractions to be about pizzas and pies, it's very strange to me that pizza or pie would be on the number line. But hey, let's just write it down with this notation. But my mental model is pizzas and pies. And then you just say, let's put it on the number line. So the first part of it is just building my comfort. It will require you to build your competence, but no one wants to choose math. Like you said, no one wants to choose the math PL, choose the math workshop, choose the math summer intensive, go back to school to focus on math when you hate it and you are uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
let's
building
get
the comfort
in math.
or even bringing into schools and districts the option to have a year-long something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just me having to admit it. Oh, all of us are doing this. This is a thing we're all doing, and we're focusing on math, and it's coming to you. And it's, I don't know how they're covering classes, whatever. For every school, it'll be different, but there has to be a plan to bring in strategic math professional learning, not hit one day, pop in, do some math and leave, because we have to do that. And once teachers are growing in their competence and understanding one concept at a time, then they become more excited about making sure the kids understand it the way they do. That's how teaching reading works. I love to read. I love books. I'm sharing this thing that I love. And I'm excited that that student who couldn't read last year in my class is a budding emergent reader and is really trying and excited. And that, the look, they go,
yeah,
like I said, I read the words and it makes sense. How can we start to see that in a math class? And then we collaborate. That's the next C. When you're confidently supporting kids and we have this collaboration, because now I'm not embarrassed to say, if we're all working on it, we're all trying to grow and improve our math instruction. I march down the hallway and say, I just tried this thing. It's not working. Can we chat about it later? My kids did this. A PLC might actually be a professional learning community, not a pacing, logistics, and calendaring meeting. If we go back to the original work, the book that I was required to read, it was about coming together and learning from student work, analyzing student work and making some decisions about instruction. I mean, that would be so cool. So could we at least start every PLC with a warm-up? Like let's just math together once a week. Can we just do that? Could we host math nights for educators? Not for the families.
Right.
Not for the kids. A math night for educators. Bring your spouse, sure. But we're having a celebration of mathematics. And that's how we begin to build community, a community of mathers that starts with the faculty and staff and extends to the parents and the community. And then math is just a part of who we are. And we are all mathers, using math to make sense of the world, because it's not classroom math makes someone believe they're not made for math. So we need to rebrand mathematics so that it is loved like reading in the first place. And so that people recognize you don't get to opt out of math, because you can't opt out of reading. It's hard. So I don't do it. It's hard.
Yeah.
Reading was hard too. It's a man-made structure. It's we made that up. But you are naturally a mather. Your brain wants to find patterns, wants to make sense of the world through a mathematical lens. The creatures in nature are mathematical.
But see, that's what's so interesting. The way that you're talking about math is not the school math. That's not how kids have experienced math in school. Math outside of school is not even math. That's just life. That's how people kind of view it.
Yes.
Right? I do this when I'm cooking, and I do this when I'm sewing. I do this when I'm building. I do this when I'm, whatever. Dancing, singing, music,
playing instruments. Yes.
Any sports, statistics on sports, all of those things, that is not math.
Right.
That's just life.
Yes.
And I think that because school, as you've described, teachers have been trained to not like math, and then they train to not like math because they're just teaching from this book. We have this cycle that goes on where there still is the disconnect between I really love sports stats, but we don't do that in school. So it's not even related, even though I 100% understand that and can recite every football statistic that there ever was, and I'm only 5. So it's just it's a miscommunication, and it does need to be rebranded for sure.
And if you think about teaching, when you're sitting at the carpet and reading a story, you've gone through, you've read the story, you flagged the pages where you want to pause, you've done the pre-work so that you're just in the moment with the students. How many times do I see people teaching math like this? Okay, now turn to page 27. Okay. All right. So first we're going to do the vocabulary. Can someone just, it's not even a thing that looks like you're comfortable doing it in the first place. So if you played around with the math and solved it and had different ways and drew sketches and thought what you might see coming from students, then you're walking around with your clipboard and you're like, yes, okay. Heidi did that. I saw that. Hey, Heidi, are you willing to share? I'm like, yeah, because it always amazes me when I was in grad school, even though the videos were so outdated, the little wing collars gave it away. But when they had us watch those videos for some of our CGI work, and then we had to go into schools and do the interviews. Sometimes we were watching the interviews and we were just like, no child does that. Like, why? Where did they get these kids? Where did they get these kids? And then you go and it starts happening. And the kids are doing those exact things that you saw.
Yeah, because they were never asked. No one ever asked them. So of course you wouldn't think they would do that. It's like amazing, right?
Oh my gosh. It was one of my favorite things about being in grad school, specifically for elementary math, was interviewing children and listening to their thinking. And that is not something that was a part of any teacher preparation program that I know of, that I witnessed or participated in. And it's not something that we do often in class. We confer with children about their thinking with books. We want them to write what they're thinking. We give them graphic organizers to organize their thinking before they write. And in math, we just want them to write down an answer.
Yeah.
Well, and it's that piece of knowing when you can step away a little bit. And I know like this varies, and all of us work.
What? You can step away?
All of us work in some form or another with, like some curricular resources, right? But that idea of like with intent, like you want the intent of the problem-based learning. You want the intent of the curricular resource, right? But it doesn't mean you can't change the names. Doesn't mean you can't change the context. And it doesn't mean you have to do it with the strategy that they're currently doing. If we're wanting kids to be flexible, then we introduce like strategy, like that's important. I'm never going to be like, oh yeah, just it's fine. Just, like all of the research around like how kids build fluency is that idea of, okay, we're going to teach some efficient strategies while they're exploring and learning. And we're going to point out, oh, when you decomposed that 7 and put 4 of them over with the 6, you made a 10. That's the strategy that you use. Like they may discover that on their own, but like rename that, right? So like that they know that's what they did. But it's that idea. I was working with a teacher today and I was like, okay, so she's teaching first grade. Many of her kids are not readers. A lot of English is their bilingual language. It's like their school language, not their home language. And so we were talking about like, okay, she's working on like change problems. That idea of like you have now start, some kind of change happens and then you have the total, right? And this is really like the kids are really, really struggling. And so we talked about, okay, like what are we going to do in those moments? Like, do we want a graphic organizer? What manipulatives do we want to use? But also I said, because I've spent some time in this classroom, I was like, your kids seem to like to be up and moving quite a bit.
I was going to say, act it out, right?
I was like, so let's act it out. I said, we can we can pick one context for the day, like this particular curricular resource, like every problem is a new context. And I'm like, as it like, particularly when we have to spend a good amount of time like with word recognition and making sure that we, have some understanding of what the word is. So like, context is going to stay the same. And
Yes.
but we're going to build little signs that have, like, if we're on the playground today, or if we're at the beach. And so like, we're going to have bird 1, bird 2. we're going to have, and so we're going to act those things out with the sign. And you're going to have a director who's going to like say, okay, this is when we start. And you're going to have other people with their little whiteboards and clipboards who are going to be like the editors. And so they're going to watch what's happening. And then we're going to,
my God, I want to be bird 1, please.
I know. Right. And it was like, she's a second-year teacher, and she was like, oh, I can do that. And I'm like, absolutely. We're using like the framework of this. And so I think like sometimes we get stuck in that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have to, like, how much permission do I have? And I like, and that does vary district to district.
Yeah.
They're not working with me if that's the case. So like, I don't generally have that.
Right.
But it's that idea of like, okay, this is the standard that we're working on. This is these are the ideas that we're working on. So let's pick out those main things. And then let's think about, okay, we don't need to do all of this.
Right. Today. We certainly don't need to do all of this today.
Yeah. Like, and we can think about, okay, like, is it better to really unpack 1 or 2 good problems and then spend some time in fluency and center and all of those other things versus trying to get through 4 pages in a workbook that has the problem? And then
but that's another disconnect, right? Because we have this curriculum program, whatever, and depending on what you're told, or even if you're told anything, that's what you rely on. So you do what it says in the program, particularly if you're that teacher who feels uncomfortable, who feels like they don't like math, who feels like there's no joy there. We just go through the motions, just like you were describing before.
But the other part of that is, again, building the comfort and competent can support you even with that. Because once I was in my program and I was really excited, when I would go through the chapter and say, okay, I know we don't need 15 problems. We can do 5. And here are the 5 I would select based on what I know. And this is what the goal is. And
you start to see.
Right. But you don't trust yourself, nor should you, if you don't take the time to understand it. I tell teachers when I'm working on problem types and word problems, some of my favorite things to do with teachers, coaches, instructional leaders who have been in my sessions do not understand the problem types. I don't need you to understand the problem types so that you can go out and write a problem type book or even to write a bunch of word problems. But I do need you to be able to identify the types so that you decide which ones to skip. So you're not always skipping the same type, or so that you're not doing the easiest type together and then sending the more complex type home for homework for them to do independently. That you can identify it and keep the mathematics intact while you change the context. It's like changing names is a great place to start, but actually building around a context that the kids in your classroom will understand and be able to act out. And even if they cannot read, word problems
that's the acting
do
out,
not
right?
have to have, word problems don't have to have words, which is why I call them math stories. Because a story can be told. A story can be read. A story can happen through a visual, a video, a photograph. So if we are sharing math stories, not word problems, like who'd sign up for problems? Like, ooh, I'd like some problems. No, I don't. I don't. Keep your problems.
Right? There's so many cartoons about that, about math problems, right? Why would we call them that? That's so dumb.
A rebrand. I told you.
That's an opportunity, right?
Rebrand.
It's an opportunity.
Marketing team for math.
Well, and it's like I told a teacher at a different location, I was like, okay, well, what are you currently reading in literacy? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, why are you asking me that? We're here talking math today. I was like, okay, like humor me.
Okay. Just answer my question, please.
And so as it turns out, and now of course the book is escaping me because that's what my brain is doing today. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what picture book you're using in
that is correct.
First and second grade. Any of those books can be used from that lens. Bring that book into math class because you've already read it for context. You've already read it. Yes.
Random book. I just pulled a random book off the shelf.
All right.
We could sit here and mathematize this book in so many different ways. And I didn't pull this one on purpose. I just literally pulled a random book. So it's a book about courage, different types of courage. We've got a dog, a dancer. Here we go. We got trapeze artists.
Yeah.
Ooh, and the courage that it takes. So this is one that I would use for when we're doing citizenship, character education, and those types of things. But every opportunity to teach anything is an opportunity to teach mathematics.
Right.
So if you have been studying a certain book,
right,
you, the teacher, again, comfort. You go through just like you do with the sticky notes to think about the read aloud and the questions and prompts you'll ask. What are the math connections, or what are the things that the students can do? And my favorite is, how can I now write math stories that are a spin off this book?
Yeah. And it's that
I love that.
You're already doing the work. I feel like you're already spending the time and doing the work for many of the things in on the literacy side. So that can come over. We can work on that.
Heidi, that speaks so well to, I know that Deborah just said this, but when we're not changing the context, which was one of your big points earlier, taking something where the context is already there. I know you already said this, it just needs to be said again, right? I mean, we're taking out so much of the comprehension piece that is the problem that teachers talk about.
Yes.
Right? When we do those word problems and the context is different every time, no one ever thought to do one context throughout. This is only a recent thing that is starting to appear in programs. So
and it is evidence-based, backed by research, that if we lessen the cognitive load, we can raise the cognitive demand. So people use those terms interchangeably. It's not the same. If the math is about to be challenging, the context needs to not be challenging. And if we're introducing a new context, we need to lessen the cognitive demand of the mathematics so that we can get them used to a new context, a new tool, a representation, so that as the math becomes more challenging, they own the use of a tape diagram or bar model, for example. You don't introduce that while the math is hard. It's the math concepts are new. That's not when you need to introduce the new tool that will support them. They needed that beforehand, just like a child learning breathing techniques or things to self-regulate. You cannot introduce breaths when they're having a tantrum. They have to have that in their toolbox. It's so that is very similar, and it infuriates me when we change the context just on one page, 5 different contexts, because not just for children who are bilingual, but for all children who are acquiring academic language, no matter what your language is at home. Oftentimes it's not formal classroom academic language, and there's going to be new vocabulary for all students. So it's a yes and for me. Do the things that will support all of the students, and then offer additional supports when they are needed. But if we remove some of the ambiguity and just muddiness of context that don't make sense to kids, and then on to the next problem, a new context that doesn't make sense. On to the next problem. You're still thinking about, wait, you said table. Did you mean the table that I sit at for dinner? Oh no, you meant that charty thing. What? We didn't pause. We didn't slow down enough to make sure they understood. And even meeting characters. In a book, you fall in love with the characters. Let's keep their story going. After the book, we pose problems in math that are connected to the characters. I used to love reading Diamond Daniel. Oh, my students loved her and her antics, and she was so adorable with her wild hair. Diamond Daniel could have adventures in the book and inside of our classroom. And they could also write stories. And then by third grade, I had students writing math stories and submitting them because they could be used for homework. They could be used on an assessment. And guess what? If you're submitting it, you need to provide the answer key. So every child is solving the thing, and you get to see your problem show up. Just there are so many things, things.
There are so many things, but it does start with, first of all, a curiosity, right? Teachers have to have the curiosity that you had about your own teaching and self-reflection to say, why am I not teaching math with the same vim and vigor that I teach reading? And then in my experience, and what I like to bring to teachers, is having them do math together, like you said earlier, on the regular. Doing math together allows them to see those problem types and talk about those problem types and dig deeper into the math and what the structure is and how should we solve this? Are there many ways to solve this? And once you start having those conversations, it just opens up a world that you didn't know was there. And allows your curiosity to feed off of itself and to continue on, so that you can know all of those decisions that you were talking about earlier in terms of how do I structure this lesson around this book or around this one scenario with several questions around this same theme. They have to actually do the math.
You couldn't have said it better. The mathers need to actually math all the time, but especially
you put that in your book, huh?
Right? and teachers, the curiosity, leading with curiosity is really important. That's the choosing to do it and wanting to do it. And I don't know, this is probably an unpopular opinion, but in addition to teachers wanting to do it and being interested and pursuing it on their own, we need to mandate some things. It needs to actually be, and I know teachers have a lot on their plates. I know that we already have too much, but it needs to come with support. And there has to be a year zero. There has to be, who'll rise up and opt in year zero, and let's get this thing going so that there are teacher leaders in the space, and then you're coming in. But no one questions, because I taught at a school, and when I interviewed and I got my offer, automatically, are you Orton Gillingham trained? And I said, I am. And they said, oh, okay. But if I had said I am not, you are automatically enrolled for your whole first year, whether you've been teaching 1 year or 101 years. You're automatically enrolled in a year-long cohort experience to understand Orton Gillingham, the science of reading, how to teach children, how to read, all the things. But why would that be upsetting to someone if we did that for math?
Well, because everyone hates math. That's why.
But we have to, we have to do something. If we say we want to make a difference, the scores, it's not just about the scores, but if the scores are terrible in fourth grade, shouldn't we be looking at improving math instruction in all grades before fourth grade, not sending the resources to middle school? And everyone needs it, but the fixing of the problem in eighth grade is not to target eighth grade.
Right.
Yeah.
So how are we
even
teachers?
it's not to just target fourth grade. We have to go much earlier. And I mean, yes, like we could spend hours and hours talking about okay, we still have too many.
For sure.
Still too many. We still we say some of them have more weight than others, but then we don't represent it in that way on high stakes testing. All of those things, right? We do all of those things to ourselves well, we don't, but they're done to us. And so it's that idea of yes, we can see that. But when we look at okay, like, and where are we going to put the time and energy? And I feel like it's the same like for administrators too. And I know this has happened to Molly. I'm sure it's happened to you. Like you go in and like, I want you to work with this person. They're really resistant. You know what I'm talking about. They may say it in a different way, but that's it. Like they really don't want to do
exactly it. Yes.
And I'm like,
yes.
I like, yes, but okay, like we need to set some stage for some expectations for everybody. I get that. But no one wants to be left out of an amazing thing that's happening.
Right.
And so when the support and the professional learning is impactful and exciting and like ready, like used immediately, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use this tomorrow.
Yes.
Like I'm not teaching a fractions course in September. No one's doing that yet.
Right.
You know, like, no, what do I need like for the next moment? When that happens, like other people start showing up to those meetings or asking to show up to those meetings or, and then sometimes they get to those meetings and they're like, oh, never mind. Because like the ask is like, you know, I'm like, well, that's happened too. But it's that idea of how do we, if we only start, it's hard to get momentum as a building and you want to build your capacity. If you're an administrator, you need to build the capacity within your building.
I have a suggestion. Incentives. It needs to be opt-in, and that's why I said there needs to be some kind of year zero. There needs to be an opportunity to opt in, and teachers should be paid. There should be a stipend. There should be some resources provided. There should be, if we're venturing into this new space of manipulatives, the teachers in the cohort get those manipulatives for their classroom. Because like you said, people start to, whoa, what are you doing in your classroom?
Right.
How did you get to do that? Oh, I signed up for that math training.
Yeah.
So creating a culture of we love math. You don't have to, you have like 5 minutes that I'm going to leave you alone. Because eventually everyone will have to, but those who are the early adopters in a building should be supported. They should be celebrated, and they should be paid. They should be compensated. They should be rewarded, because just as you hear a story and you can't resist leaning in, just, oh, this is my favorite part. You want people to walk by the classroom and say, what is going on? That was my classroom. At math time, teachers were always popping in, coming to observe. But here's the thing they would do. Oh my gosh, Deborah, I don't know how you got your kids to do all of that. That was so great. That thing you did, could you drop it in the shared drive?
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's not a drop it in the shared drive kind of thing. Would you like to know all the things that I've done to set up my classroom to work that way?
But that's the thing, right?
Excited.
I think that going back to the mandated piece, if mandates were a thing that didn't sound like the word mandate.
Right. Yes, that's why I said.
I know exactly why you said it, right? Because this is what we do as learners here in this building.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
We learn Orton Gillen here. We learn fractions. Whatever. Well, there's obviously not equivalents to Orton Gillingham, but like, right? Like, we do professional learning with our peers in this building forever. Because we are lifelong learners, and this is what we're trying to get our kids to be as lifelong learners. So,
and here's
the culture.
Yes.
Then everybody has to buy in at some point. You can take as long as you want to buy in, but we're still doing this.
Right. And there have to be options. When I was interviewing the participants for my study, a recurring theme was, it would be great if Math PL was kind of like a choose your own adventure. And that's basically differentiation, customization. Like, if I were the teacher who has been doing my own work, reading the things, going to the webinars, and I was I don't want to sit through the same thing. That the it's like there has to be ongoing pathways being created, and it needs to be, like you said, forever. Like, this is what we do here. Mm-hmm. I think it's Sarah and Barbara, maybe Sarah Bush, the pact, where it's like everyone in the building, anyone who touches a kid, anyone who's near a child has to be on board with building the culture around mathematics and being successful with mathematics.
Yeah.
So
I think that I worked in a school in New York City where when they hire you, the culture of math is explained, and you don't get hired if these are not your beliefs. I was like, oh. That's amazing. What?
Right. And it's like, and if it's not, and you don't feel like you're there yet, but you're open and willing and you want to, then come on. We've got you covered.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's so much of a culture thing. Like almost everything that you've said is so culturally related and communicated by attitude and
mindsets and beliefs.
Vibes. You know, vibes even when you're in a building.
Yeah. And the leader has to lead. The leader can't say, I'm bringing in math for everyone. I don't do math, but I'm bringing in lots of support. Math is not my thing. So I'm paying someone to do the math. No, they need to see you learning right alongside them. Because just like I said, I shared reading from this place of spilling over. And as a leader, if you're just like, yeah, we love math here. We celebrate math. Math is great. My teachers.
I know your eyes are saying it all.
Right. It's like, no, we all are mathers.
Yeah.
And here are all the ways that we celebrate math. We have a math festival, just like we have Drop Everything and Read Day, just like we have the reading fair, the book fair, the reading festival, the sharing with parents. Like, where's all of the celebrating of math?
Yep.
Yeah. So. Oh, yes. Well, thankfully, you're going to solve all the problems of the world. So that's great. Thank you.
Well, sure. After I'm done defending my dissertation, I'll come solve all the problems.
Okay. Well, we can wait. I mean, we've waited this long, so. Oh my gosh, so great. Well, tell us how anyone who is listening or will listen in the future can learn more about you. Where can they go? What can they do?
First and foremost, you can go to mathersgonnamath.com. You can find me on LinkedIn at mathersgonnamath. You can also find me on Instagram. We're working on building our following and getting some really great content on Instagram. Also, you guessed it, mathersgonnamath. And if you ever message me, have a question, I tend to answer myself or someone from my team will let me know. Even an email, hello@mathersgonnamath.
Love it.
With the branding.
Working on it. Oh, I have to show you something. This is my birthday gift from my daughter, who was in my book, who is also my illustrator. And I just got it. Yes, those are the Mather kids that she created. Kiana and Kareem, they're back. They're also on my wall on a poster. But yeah, my favorite color is purple.
Them back there.
Yeah, my favorite color is purple. So I got the purple jacket. And Mather Queen is on there too. So
that's awesome. I love it.
Love it, love it, love it. I hope that you're wearing that next time we see you. That's fun.
Well, as cold as it is, I will be rocking this.
I know
that. It may be in the house.
I was going to wear my t-shirt to match, but it's so cold. I was like, no, I like t-shirt, wool sweater. I have like a heater blowing on my legs. I'm like, okay.
Yes, the storm is brewing.
Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and telling us about your book and just being here. Yep, there it is. There's her pretty purple book.
Yeah, and a book study is starting on Monday. Awesome. Super excited about that. Anyone can join.
Do they go to mathersgonnamath.com for that?
You know, I'm going to say that we'll post something because it is being led by Mariah Carrington out of Mount Holyoke and Keep Indiana Learning with Courtney Flesner.
Yeah.
They're running it, but I'm going to be making some guest appearances to answer questions.
So fun.
So
and
it's all over social media.
For anyone who doesn't know those two women, it is 100% worth your time to spend with them. Mm-hmm. They are both very, very thoughtful educators and in their own right, just wonderful, wonderful people. So yes. Go you with that.
A year or two ago, maybe season 3 also, and Courtney's coming on here in season 5, so you can hear from them.
Yes. Yeah, Courtney's coming up. She's in March, I think. So.
Yeah, and they're bringing in special guests every week to lead the discussion. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
That's amazing. Amazing. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. We love you. And we hope that everyone joins your book
Mather movement.
Yes, the Mather movement. Hashtag Mather movement. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
Oh, that was so unintentional. Oh my God, that was so rude.
It's all good. I was just saying thanks for having me. It is always a pleasure talking about mathers, mathing, and building a community of mathers, supporting teachers, my favorite thing to do. So I look forward to seeing you all in real life real soon. Yes. And of course, hanging out on social media. You all have a good one.
All right. Thank you. Man, I am really rude.
I'm just gonna watch that.
It's like one tiny swipe and there she was. It's gone. Just gone. Good Lord. All right. Well, we have a couple weeks until we're going to be talking to Kim Rimby. That should also be a really good conversation. She is knee deep in her own projects, but also doing work with Peter Liljedahl. So that should be a great conversation.
We're going to be talking about, I think, visual images that support student learning. So like how we represent student thinking. So I believe
that's something near and dear to our heart. So.
Yes. So I believe that is the topic of conversation for that one. She's a prolific writer. So there's several books out there, but I think that's the one that we're going to be showcasing in that conversation.
Amazing. Again, you can find our book, Math Activators, at Didex. And until February 12th, we hope that you keep math creative, curious, and inclusive. Bye.
Night, everyone.